When we look at Lieutenant Colonel Vic Kregel's long and distinguished career, you'll find the word service comes to the forefront, a lifetime of service to the game of golf and service to his country. Before entering the Air Force in World War II, Vic grew up in Irwin, Pennsylvania, where his first job was as a caddy at Irwin Country Club, and 7 years later he was club champion. Vic enlisted in the Army Air Corps in 1942. After flying rescue planes in World War II, Vic stayed with the Air Force for 23 years while his game soared even higher. In 1946, Vic entered and won the Air Force National Golf Championship, and that was the start of a very impressive trophy collection.
During the time that he was in the military, Vic won every military championship he ever entered. He led teams in the Unicom tournaments for all the services. When he was stationed in Europe, he won several European championships.
Vic would win dozens of championships on his tour of duty, including the 1951 European Amateur. In the late 1950s, Vic was on exchange with the Royal Air Force, and while he was there, he served as a great ambassador to golf and the United States. Vic won just about everything he could, including the Nottingham County Championship, in which he shot the lowest score in the 49-year history of the event and bested 2 Walker Cup members while at it.
Yeah, and he was in the Royal Golf Society, I believe it's called. He competed in a lot of tournaments when he wasn't flying, and he won most, if not all of them. But he did it gracefully with a lot of class. And so he created a lot of friendships for himself and for the Air Force over there.
Vic's Air Force career came in for a landing in 1963 at the Air Force Academy. He was the business manager of the athletic department and naturally the varsity golf coach. In 3 years, Vic elevated the standard of the program to what it is today.
I'll give you a typical example of how he had an influence. The captain of the golf team that first year was the son of a high-ranking general. Still need to learn a few lessons. And one time during a golf match, he got very angry about hitting a bad shot, and he turned and threw a club. And Colonel Kregel just walked up to him and pointed toward the clubhouse. And he knew what he meant. He was done for the day. That sent a tremendous message to everybody who walked out on that golf course from then on, when Vic Kregel was on the golf course.
Vic's career took him to Dallas for the next 20 years, but he returned in 1987 to the Air Force Academy and picked up right where he left off, teaching cadets, and anyone for that matter. In the 90s, Vic was asked to help the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs develop a golf team. He proceeded to recruit players for it, help raise scholarship funds for it, and coach the varsity team in the late 90s. Vic continued to volunteer his time as a coach, and 3 of his protégés are currently on tours. He also continued his winning ways, winning the Eisenhower Men's Club Championship 3 times. In 1992, at the age of 69, Vic shot better than his age, and proceeded to do so for the next 13 years in the tournament. They named the tournament after him in 2004. Today, the Kregel Cup is proudly on display at the Eisenhower Clubhouse, where you'll also find a portrait of Vic Kregel, and many other subtle reminders of his legacy.
I think his legacy is that he was such a good amateur golfer that the level of his game may have been very close to the professional level, but he represented all of us amateurs, and he represented all of us Air Force people. And boy, you can't do any better than that.
Tonight we honor Lieutenant Colonel Vic Kregel with the Distinguished Service Award.